People paying money to see me in a 20 by 20 ring.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the 20 by 20 Ring Crew. I am Matt alongside Joe.
What up?
Strap back and relax because we got more wrestling talk for you in a very special episode because we're talking fantasies.
Yo!
Oh, God, no.
No, not those fantasies. Get your head out of the gutter.
Damn it.
We're talking fantasy booking, ladies and gentlemen. And why are we talking fantasy booking? Because this month we are debuting a brand new segment called The Following Contest.
The following contest, scheduled for one fall.
I'm excited. Following contest.
The Following Contest.
Scheduled for one fall.
One fall. Where we talk, you and I talk about matches that we would love to see. There is no wrong answers. So as we move along in the fantasy booking, of course, as always, we want to hear your fantasy booking.
I can't wait.
And how can they do that?
You can do it on Facebook. Facebook.com/groups/20x20 talk would be the easiest way. That way you get to hear straight from us as well. Like instant gratification on both sides of the microphone.
Yeah, fantasy booking really is one of those things that when we first started doing this podcast, that was like the first thing that you and I wanted to do, and we just didn't find the right time. And now we have the right platform to do it. It's going to happen, and we know you guys are going to absolutely love it. It's the what ifs, and who doesn't love good what ifs? We're watching ECW Hardcore Heaven. Right now we have 1997 on. Not that long ago we were watching 1995. We're watching Taz work, and he was on this episode on 1997 as well, where he fought the late great Chris Candido. Rest in peace. I just looked at Taz, and especially in 95 because he had Paul Heyman in his corner. And it's like, man, there's so many guys that I would fantasy book against Taz. Taz in his prime, easily one of the greatest mat technicians, suplex artists to ever step foot in the wrestling ring.
The human suplex machine.
The human suplex machine. And then I asked the question, what if he got into the ring with a guy by the name of Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar, Suplex City versus Taz, the human suplex machine. And then you throw in the wild card, you throw in Paul Heyman. I don't know if I could ever be excited about a Brock Lesnar match at this day and age, but I sure as hell am excited about that match.
You and I both. Now that you mentioned throwing Paul Heyman in there, if it were up to me, that's what I would make the match about.
Paul Heyman?
Yeah, it would be like the winner gets the exclusive rights to Paul Heyman's services.
Yeah.
That sort of a thing. I think that'd be a pretty fun and interesting stipulation there. Before you internet wrestling community people start scoffing at your speakers, let's face it, there's obviously some really common sense similarities. They both do suplexes, and I don't want to say they're limited, but they're not limited in in-ring work. You have Taz, who actually has martial arts training. Obviously, so does Brock Lesnar to an extent. I think Taz has more than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Even today, both with collegiate wrestling behind them. So it's not like either one of these guys is coming into the ring half-assed or with little experience. I remember Taz at his peak, at his height.
Yeah.
Just in his attitude and the way he carried himself in and outside the ring, this would be a really fucking interesting match. They're both kind of the same mind when it comes to shooting on people. I get it that Lesnar is much taller than Taz, but I think that's probably the only advantage Lesnar has on Taz, if we're being honest here.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be people out there listening to this like, oh, fuck you. It's Lesnar all the way, and Taz has no chance. Sorry, folks.
Bam Bam Bigelow is my response to that.
Yeah?
Bam Bam Bigelow versus Taz. Taz suplexes his ass throughout the entire.
Well, I mean, for me, it's not necessarily about size here. When I mention that, it just
Okay.
it is size, but at the same time, I think a lot of people, especially fans these days, especially WWE fans these days,
Yeah.
think that Lesnar is this
Untouchable.
this untouchable, all-encompassing badass. And I'm not trying to shy away from that standpoint, but what I am saying is, if you don't know how badass Taz was back in the day, then you're sadly fucking mistaken. This is not an easy match by any means, win, lose, or draw for Brock Lesnar. That's what I'm trying to say.
Agreed. Since that's fantasy booking, the answer is yes. You can change up which Brock Lesnar we're talking about here. Are we talking before he bitched out and left because he didn't want to do the job for Undertaker, or after, where he got everything he wants because he's Brock Lesnar?
I say after, and the only reason I'm sticking with that one is because he's much more inclined these days to be that much more of a dick.
Okay.
Whether it be in or outside the ring.
And that's important for this match.
It is important for this match.
I agree.
Because that's part of it, is his attitude. When we watched him at WrestleMania 34 go against Roman Reigns, everybody was thinking Roman Reigns was going to win, us included, because let's face it, everybody was tired, and still is tired as of this recording, of seeing fucking Brock Lesnar with that fucking Universal title. But
It's a fake title.
But he had Roman Reigns in the ring, and he fucking busted him open with those elbows. Whether it was planned or not, he brings that attitude into the ring now, where he didn't necessarily bring it in before he left with over the Undertaker.
See, and that's I agree, and that's where Taz differs from Roman Reigns in so many levels, where Taz isn't going to lay down and take that shit.
He'll shoot right back with
Just
him.
shoot right back with them. Doesn't give a shit if anybody cares in the back or not, or tells him not to. He's going to do it. It's definitely an eye for an eye kind of situation. You have to ask the question, if he's in this match, let's say this is in a WWE ring, it's pretty safe to say that Taz would be told, hey, you're going to get suplexed 20 times tonight in Suplex City. Think Taz just does the job? Or does he say, all right, well, I'm getting mine too, though?
Obviously, Taz still has his own show, his own radio show.
Okay.
I would be really interested to hear what he has to say about Brock Lesnar, because I don't listen to Taz's show. Taking into consideration what I know about Taz, I think he would probably do the job up until it didn't sit right with him.
Yeah.
Whether that be before the match actually happened or during the match.
Right.
Because I could see if Lesnar told him, hey, you're taking 20 suplexes tonight, and that's that. Taz, I could hear it almost immediately in my head. Oh yeah? Okay. All right, we'll see. 20? Okay, sure. We'll see. And then you get in that ring, and it's a completely different story. Now, I'm not saying fucking Taz is going to not take any suplexes.
Right.
But I could see him, the moment Lesnar tries to get out of hand and has a problem with the match, Taz is going to have that same problem right back. And, he's not going to pull a Roman Reigns.
He just lays down, takes it.
Yeah, it would definitely be an eye for an eye. So
certainly, no matter what, Brock Lesnar's going to walk out of this match, as you said earlier, he's going to feel it. Whether he's holding that title hostage or not, he's going to feel it. You're going to look at Taz and you're going to put respect on that name, and that's something that Taz, as the man, has always made his opponents do. I do remember during one of the WWE special shows, like one-off shows, they talked about ECW, and it was like a round table that had Taz and Tommy Dreamer, and I want to say both Dudleys, at least Bubba, and Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman brings up Brock Lesnar, and Taz just flat out said, wouldn't have lasted in ECW. It wouldn't have worked out.
No, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Well, that's
man.
why I bring it up. What if this is an ECW ring?
Definitely Lesnar does not survive. There's no fucking way. because he, as much of a legitimate badass he is, being an extreme wrestler is something completely different. Let's face it, over the years, ECW's been known to have like their own versions of death matches, a lot of barbed wire and chairs and kendo sticks. And again, I'm not saying he hasn't experienced some of that in the WWE over the years,
Sure.
but it wasn't like ECW.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of those matches that I would absolutely love to see. I want to hear your opinions on that.
Facebook.com/groups/20x20talk is where you can find us and sit and chat. Tell us how you feel about Taz versus Brock Lesnar.
Now, with fantasy booking, again, there's really so many things you can do. And as we're talking about this, I guess I freestyle a lot of what we do on the show. I don't have anything written down in front of me. I'm not a very prepared person, but we're watching, again, ECW Hardcore Heaven 1997. We're watching from the Extreme Chopper. It's kind of silly.
It's like the equivalent of those vehicles that superhero action figures have. Like Spider-Man has a motorcycle for some fucking reason.
For no reason at all.
You know, Superman has a fucking plane, even though he can fly. Shit like that. Well, the ECW has the Extreme Chopper.
And this guy Lance Wright, like, he's super close to that camera.
It's like, extreme.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. So there's a couple guys who their rivalry was synonymous with ECW. So it's not really fantasy booking here. Every once in a while in wrestling, you see guys. We saw this in episode 13. We talked about the Intercontinental title as we watched No Mercy 2002. Two rivalries become a tag team and even tag team champions that night. You saw Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit, who were rivals, win the tag team titles at No Mercy 2002. A storied rivalry in ECW was Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam.
Oh, man.
I always wondered what they'd be like as a tag team because they were so good as opponents. And there's one tag team that really stands out to me as far as today's teams go as who would be a great opponent, a great fantasy opponent for Jerry Lynn and RVD. And technically it could still happen. And I'm talking about the Young Bucks. Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam, to me as a tag team, minus the goofiness, would be the Young Bucks of the 90s as a tag team.
Very true. Very true.
And I would love to see those two teams go at it in a fantasy warfare kind of match.
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. Those two bitter enemies, but damn, they would make a hell of a team. Oh my god, I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
And you could go with anybody, really. I mean, any legit tag team. But the Young Bucks really stand out. Just because, not only that, but if you haven't been following what the Young Bucks have been doing in professional wrestling, man, what rock are you living under? Like, I mean, these two dudes, whether you call them...
Probably one that's been sold on the WWE shop zone.
Oh, man. Yeah, don't buy that crap. As we see Jerry Lawler on ECW. They, no matter what match you put them in these kind of big time matches, these big time fantasy matches. We saw this at Supercard of Honor back in 2017 when they fought the Hardys, the Broken Hardys. No matter what, even if it's a one-off match, they put on these crazy good back and forth wrestling matches. Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam, they bring in technical wrestling, they bring in high flying, and they bring in a little bit of the hardcore element too. The perfect setting for a 6-star match, if you ask me. So,
yeah, even if it's not in the fucking Tokyo Dome.
Even if it's not in the Tokyo Dome, it's still 6-star. Very much could be a 6-star match. So yeah, what do you think?
Man, I'm fucking jealous of that one. I absolutely love that idea. I think RVD and Jerry Lynn edge the Bucks out on this one because they all, like you said, they both share similar traits.
Yeah.
In style, but out of the two teams, I think that RVD and Jerry Lynn are the more technical of the two teams.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the winning edge for me.
Yeah, I agree. And this is one of those matches too that if I had to book it, it'd be really tough because so badly you'd like to see these guys in like a hardcore style, whether it be a ladder match or something like that. But at the end of the day, I don't need all that. I just need these two to just do, or these four, I should say, to do what they do on a daily basis. just another day in the office for these guys. Just give me a good, solid 25, 30-minute match. I'm set. Even if it doesn't go that long, I'm still set. Because these guys, I mean, man, I love Rob Van Dam, but there's always been something about Jerry Lynn for me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Man, he just one of the biggest, best innovators of today's style of high-flying wrestling. He was the forefront of that. You know, you look at Ring of Honor, you look at early days of TNA, it's Jerry Lynn's name on that. So he would have been in that ring with the Bucks had they been around when it first started, either one of those promotions. So I agree. I think Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam win this match. Quite honestly, I really don't care who wins.
Yeah, no.
Just give me a solid match, and I know they will. So
that Jerry Lynn is definitely one of those cats who stopped wrestling too soon for me, man. I missed the shit out of that guy. I don't keep up with him. I don't know exactly why he doesn't wrestle anymore, whether it's due to personal choice or injury or what have you, but he is sorely missed by a lot of the people that I know too. So yeah, man, that'd be one hell of a fucking match. Oh my god, him as a singles wrestler, especially in ECW, there were some surprising matches that I never thought I would enjoy back then that I did, like him versus Kid Cash.
yeah,
They had some decent matches, especially when he was using the that pile driver.
with Kratos Shock.
Yes, the cradle pile driver.
Cradle pile
Oh
driver.
my god, that is a finisher for him, because you associated him with high spots and a whole hell of a lot. But you're right. He's super sound technical wrestler. On top of all that, you get the total package, no pun intended, and then you have him use that as a finisher at one point. You want to talk about a formidable fucking opponent. Like, goddamn, it was Jerry Lynn. It kind of sucks that he had the career that he had, because I think he was capable of so much fucking more. Damn, I've got like a laundry list of opponents that I would love
Jerry Lynn?
Yeah, that I would love to fantasy book him against.
Anybody stand out?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like there's like a fucking Rolodex going off in my head right now. I'm going to start off with Shane Strickland.
Ooh.
Shane Strickland, for those of you who don't know, indie wrestler. He's been associated with PCW Ultra. He's been associated with Evolve. He is definitely an up-and-comer in indie wrestling right now. He's got this fluidity about him.
It's also Killshot in Lucha Underground.
Yes, also Killshot and Lucha Underground. He's got this fluidity about him. He's for me, he's still got some learning to do. He still needs some more experience, but he's getting up there. He's getting up there quick. And I would love to see him versus Jerry Lynn. I would watch that in a fucking heartbeat.
Well, it's great that you picked, because just like you, I had quite a few guys that popped in my head for Jerry Lynn, and at some point over the course of the following contest, it's definitely going to be brought back. This is a name that's going to be used quite a bit, so get used to it. And certainly check out Jerry Lynn if you haven't checked out Jerry Lynn. But I'm glad you picked Shane Strickland, because that's what Jerry Lynn did, especially in the latter part of his career. He took young guys and made them better. That's what I was alluding to with Ring of Honor and TNA. It was.
Well, I know for sure he's still doing that. He definitely trains younger talent. That I know for sure. I don't know who he's trained as of late, but yeah, that's what he does. So he's still within the wrestling world, just not active in the ring.
But that's the thing. It's getting these young cats over, and Shane Strickland definitely could use somebody like Jerry Lynn, because I agree he's there, and when by you saying he's not quite there yet, I need everybody to understand you, and I'm speaking on behalf of you, but I know this is that he's not green.
Oh God, no, no, he's not green at all.
So
no.
don't get it twisted by that way. Like he's not green. He can go.
Yeah, he's highly capable, folks.
There's just a few things that need to be worked on, and I agree with that. Again, the work with Jerry Lynn is probably the right prescription for him, because you're going to get first class look at a total package wrestler. That total package wrestler is going to teach you everything that he knows and then some.
There was, I want to say it was an Instagram post or a Twitter post, I think in April of this year, 2018, where Strickland is in the locker room at some event, and he's pictured with Ultimo Dragon.
Oh.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, if he could just be a sponge while he's around him, pick up whatever he can from the Ultimo Dragon. Oh my God, that's what he needs. He needs that guidance. He like I said, he just needs a little bit to get him to the next level of his career. But awesome wrestler. Like I said, very fluid, high flyer. I at this point, like, cruiserweight has become such a generic term for like small, high flying guys. But he's much more than a cruiserweight. Like he's like an ultimate cruiserweight.
Yeah. I'm looking up Jerry Lynn. He officially retired in 2013.
Yeah, so he's
officially retired, but he does work for Ring of Honor. He is a backstage agent and producer. So. And he's definitely helping out the young talent there. I mean, I miss the hell out of Jerry Lynn.
I got to see him a couple times at Ring of Honor shows, so I definitely got to see him live, and that was fucking awesome.
Yeah. At the time when I first saw the Jerry Lynn RVD rivalry, I didn't realize what I had. Like it just.
I think a lot of people were that way.
Yeah, I had to rewatch those matches, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen their matches. It's been countless times. No matter how many times I've seen it, it's like the first time all over again. This some of the best wrestling matches. That's what wrestling is all about right there. You ready for another one?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's do it. I kind of want to give different examples to show our listeners what exactly we're talking about. It's not just matches, necessarily fancy booking. It's what about the rivalries? What about a good match, but also good talkers?
Oh, yeah. Good promos are always appreciated.
And I take one of the best talkers from the Attitude Era, one of the best, and he's not an Anoa'i. And put him against who I feel is the best talker in the WWE right now.
Oh, I'm interested. Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Stone Cold from the Attitude Era, and he's got beef with a guy by the name of Kevin Owens today.
Man.
Angles.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's you can go back on Stone Cold's podcast where he has Kevin Owens on as a guest. They talk about the finer points of executing a Stone Cold Stunner. Mm-hmm. And you think about it, the casual wrestling fan will sit there like, well, there's nothing to it. You just kick the guy in the gut, you grab him by the neck, and you drop him. And I'm guilty of that frame of mind, that point of view, but
sure.
Stone Cold breaks it down, like, from a technical aspect. It is really interesting conversation. I don't know if Podcast 1, because it's an older episode, I don't know if they're still on that fucking kick where you have to subscribe to them, like a monthly fee to access the archives or not, but
okay.
Maybe check it out on YouTube if you don't want to throw out the dough to Podcast 1. I'm sure someone's uploaded it, or at least the clip. But it's Stone Cold talking with Kevin Owens. They're talking about the finer points of delivering a Stone Cold Stunner, because Kevin Owens apparently had done it in a match once or twice, and Stone Cold's like, you didn't do it right, son, you didn't do it right, and this is what you do, this is how you do it. It was really fucking cool to hear that back and forth. I was geeking out because I'm a fucking wrestling dork.
Yeah.
And just interesting conversation. But to have them two talk against each other, that's like a whole nother fucking level to this. And they kind of do it during that interview. Mm. Because at the time of the interview, I think before the interview happened, Kevin got on Twitter because they were talking about him using the stunner. He was joking with Stone Cold about how he was gonna use the stunner as his finisher from now on, and Stone Cold's like, you can't do it, you can't use it as, I'm not giving you permission to use it as your finisher because you don't know how to do it right. And that's how the conversation started. So he's like, let me tell you how to do it right before you go and make it in your finisher. Hell yeah, dude. Oh my God. And they were jawing back and forth, and it was friendly then, but just hearing them two interact with each other on that level, oh my God, the amount of potential there in that verbiage. Oh my God.
You know, I don't know if I'll stand, and I'm probably gonna get some heat for this one, but Stone Cold never had the counterpart that is Kevin Owens in the Attitude Era. Nobody as quick on their feet or quick on the mic as Kevin Owens was. I think Kevin Owens is better than The Rock was.
You think so?
I do. The Rock was great as catchphrases and
I don't know. I don't know that I agree with you on this one. I think he's up there. I'm not
saying The Rock is bad.
Know your role.
No, I don't. And I'm not saying that you are saying that. But as far as being quick-witted, I think The Rock is up there. I think he's up there with the Kevin Owens. I don't know.
Giving you the Intercontinental title, but I'll tell you what. No. But I'll tell you what. The Rock said it before, and he'll say it again. You go one-on-one with the great one. Makes your monkey ass famous. Tonight, Tacoma World Title match.
Yeah! No! Tonight! No, the championship on the line! No, Rock, it's not a good idea!
So now, Triple H, The Rock says, what you gonna do when the 24... No, wait, that's not it. Hold on, that's not it. Oh, this is it. To be the man, woo, you gotta beat. No, wait, that's not it. Oh, this is it. Ooh, yeah, Dick. Oh, damn it, that's not it either.
Don't worry, yours is no better.
Oh, wait, this is it. I am the best there is, the best there... No, wait, that's not it either. That damn sure ain't it. This is it. The most electrifying line in sports entertainment today. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Kevin's a lot of things, but you know what? It's like apples and oranges for me.
Sure.
So, but he's definitely up there for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. It would be interesting to have The Rock come back now. Do a guest spot here or there. And kind of jaw with these guys to see how it would go.
I guess for me, even growing up, I just got really bored of... See, with The Rock, it just sounded like a lot of the same shit being said every single week. There was, when he had the rivalries with Triple H, he'd say the same X, Y, and Z. Big Show, X, Y, and Z. The Undertaker, X, Y, and Z. And just, it was always the same. It was always the same where, yeah, Steve Austin had his catchphrases, but they were just kind of used to, finish a sentence, and that was it. With the exception of the what chants, which I hated.
What?
I was just saying, it's been an incredible...
What?
It's been a great night.
What?
Here tonight.
What?
With Steve, it's going to just...
What?
It's going to just get even...
What? Now go ahead.
But the difference between Kevin Owens and The Rock is that Kevin Owens is I feel very much like Stone Cold, where he feeds off what's being said more so than anybody else.
I hate you so much. You are such a piece of shit.
Hey, let's chill.
But I'm a piece of shit.
That's true.
I can appreciate pieces of shit. And they always say, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to beat you, and I couldn't. So now, I got your goddamn back. Ooh. I'm not going to suck your dick, but I will make everybody who tries to stand in your way suck your dick. Everyone. Tell me who. Candace, Elgin, Joey Ryan. Not these two.
I don't do that.
They're good Christian boys. They don't do that shit.
Right on.
And this is where I have my disagreement with you. I agree with that sentiment. But as far as The Rock goes, he's highly capable of that, even though you don't get to see it often.
Okay.
Go back, I don't remember the time frame here, but I'm sure it's available on the WWE Network. Triple H and The Rock, their rivalry, when they were going back and forth, there's exchanges between them two where things were completely off script on multiple occasions, and you get to see The Rock react organically.
Okay.
Off the cuff, however you want to, whatever vernacular you're choosing. But I think those are the best examples of what The Rock is capable of. And it's not the same old humdrum, delivery and things like that you're talking about.
That's fair. I'll definitely have to go back and look at that. And again, for anyone who beats me up, I get it. Rock is a great talker. I don't need to be told that. All right, shut up. So... That's how I silence my critics before they start criticizing me. But yeah, I guess that was always my thing. It was a lot of the same regurgitated shit. But you're right. He is very quick on his feet. He's proven that many times. But I guess with Kevin and Stone Cold, it's just a different style. It's a style that maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just the different style of always being organic. Even if you have a script, it just always feels organic. I should say with Stone Cold is when it was Stone Cold. Now with Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens doesn't have a catchphrash.
No, you know what? I think it's more than that though, because these days with the WWE and their product, a lot of it is overproduced and very tightly scripted. It's gotten to the point with that company where you can't even come out during your entrance and like be organic. It's like, here, you're gonna go out, you're gonna do this pose, you're gonna do this kind of interaction with the fans, and then you're gonna get in the fucking ring. Simple as that. And it's all, it's that scripted these days.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that before, at least not to that extent. So that's the other factor in all this. I think for us to see what Kevin Owens is really truly capable of, we'd have to go and watch some PWG shows, Old Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah.
When he was Kevin Steen. So I think that those would be the best examples of what he's capable of on the microphone.
Speaking of Kevin Owens, did you hear about the report that Vince McMahon is telling them lose your gut or lose your spot?
You know what? I'm not surprised.
I can't confirm it's a legit thing, but it's going around the internet right now.
If it's true, I'm not surprised. And the only reason I say that is because, one, Vince is the one paying you. He signs your paychecks. And two, Kevin Owens wouldn't be the first wrestler that has been told that over the years. Big Show has been told that. Mark Henry, both of those guys, like, hey, we're paying you all this fucking money. We're asking you to be at a certain weight or at least lose weight. Yokozuna back in the day was told that he's got to keep it under a certain weight. I get it. He's a sumo.
He was also came back at 500 pounds, though.
Yeah. You got, no disrespect, but you got to be able to move. You got to be able to move, and you got to stay somewhat healthy for the type of work.
Now, do you think that's an issue with Kevin Owens right now? He's got a gut on him. There's no doubt about it. You think that's an issue with Kevin Owens?
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah?
I do. Because I'm used to him being a little more active in the ring. And I'm sure the internet wrestling community is going to beat me up on this, but I'm used to seeing the Kevin Owens, or the man who used to be Kevin Steen when he was in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And a little slimmer in PWG, where he moved a little quicker. I think that's where a lot of people are turned off by Kevin Owens, is that, one, he's not moving as quick as he used to, and two, his style of wrestling isn't a style that goes over well with a lot of fans. I just had a conversation the other day with someone from a different group. I won't mention the name of the group, but someone much older than me was telling me, I can't get into Kevin Owens because I don't like his style, and he's sluggish and the whole nine. And I half-heartedly agreed with him.
Okay.
Because that, for me, that even his style is an acquired taste. A lot of what he does is it's just a lot of punching and a lot of kicking. You give him enough time and you let him do what he does best in that ring, and you will get the Kevin Owens that you want, that you're looking for. But unfortunately, not to sound like a broken record, folks, but this is what happens when the WWE signs somebody like Kevin Owens, like Shinsuke Nakamura, like AJ Styles. They're limited. It's manufactured to be that way.
Well, that's the point I was gonna ask is, do you think it's hypocritical when, I'm not saying WWE made him fat or fatter.
Well, he's eating good now. Yeah, that's for damn sure.
That's his own doing, of course. But the fact that he didn't have to do anything. You don't have to be. Look, you don't have to be a good wrestler to be in the WWE. We both know that.
You just have to be a good sports entertainer.
You have to be a good sports entertainer. And
that's two different things.
We brought up Kevin Owens for this rivalry. I love Kevin Owens. I obviously loved him as Kevin Steen. Great wrestler. Not shitting on him at all. But this was brought up mainly for the fact that he's great on that microphone. And let's face facts. Stone Cold post SummerSlam 97 was a lot of punching and kicks too. He can say whatever he wants to say about doing a perfect stunner. His wrestling was far from perfect at that point. Again, totally different thing. He wasn't fat, but he had a fucked up neck. Obviously, his knees were fucked up too. He was a broken down man at this point. Like, it just deteriorated, going into 98, 99, and 2000 was horrible for him. It's just one of those things where you have to just accept the style of wrestling for what it is. Stone Cold because he has to. Kevin Owens because that's all they allow him to be. Kevin Owens it starts with, for me, it started with his finisher. The move that he was doing in Ring of Honor was fucking brutal. That finisher.
Very brutal.
That curled up pile driver he would do to a pop-up power bomb. Whatever, that's fine. But then it just goes downhill from there. It's just, you don't have to do this anymore, you don't have to do that anymore. And let's face facts, so many wrestlers or sports entertainers in WWE do mostly punches and kicks now too. So Shinsuke Nakamura, you ain't doing strong style, my friend, anymore. You're just doing...
It's pseudo strong style.
Yeah. It's at best, AJ Styles went from the Styles Clash to a forearm as his finishing move. So punches and kicks is what's done. I mean, you might as well call them WWFC. I mean, that's what they are now. So again, I'm not blaming WWE for making Kevin Owens fatter. Okay, that's his doing. That's Kevin Steen. That's his real name. That's his doing. What I am saying is, it sounds very hypocritical when you're telling him you need to be more active. When he's in that ring, you're telling them you don't do it that much.
Yeah. Slow it down. Don't do this, don't do that. You don't have to do this. Yeah. When he was clearly a fucking workhorse before you signed him. Yeah.
That's a guy right there that I guarantee you, day one, he would have taken that ring and carried it on his back. If you told him to. If that's what you need him to do, he'd do it. That's the type of passion that he has for the business. And I don't think he doesn't have that now. I never really paid attention to the sluggishness because I don't look at these matches as legit matches.
Do you remember when he first got signed, him and Sami Zayn?
Yeah.
And the amount of drool coming out of our mouths about, holy shit, if they just let them, have at it against each other.
Oh, yeah.
How great this would be. Yeah. That never really came to full fruition.
You got a little bit in NXT.
A little bit.
But yeah, you're right.
A fucking drop in a bucket, man. That's what it was.
It's a shame. It's a shame. And I don't want to go too deep into this because not what this episode's about. But Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, the exact same thing. We're talking June 17th here. In a couple weeks from now, we're talking Money in the Bank, and this is Shinsuke versus Nakamura 4 in the WWE, and I've given two shits about one of those matches. That WrestleMania match I did care about.
Well, yeah, because it was, it was being billed as the first time ever in WWE and the dream match for the WWE universe. And
I don't know why. And I'm going to sound really extreme here, and I don't mean to, but that match really broke my heart because it was bad. And I've said this in our Facebook group page that I didn't think it was possible that WWE could make me look at AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura and not care.
Yeah.
And they did that.
They absolutely did that.
And it sucks.
It does. I think a lot of people out there who don't or haven't, I'll say that, who haven't experienced these wrestlers in other places than the WWE, that's what's lacking from their point of view. When we talk about AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, we would love to see them as they were in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can do that through New Japan World. Go get yourself a subscription. You want to see Kevin Steen and Sami Zayn, a.k.a. El Generico, do what they do best? Unfortunately, you're not going to catch that on the WWE Network or in the WWE product, but you can catch it on the Honor Club. It's things like that. Like you're going to have to, for those who don't want subscriptions and you want to go still find some shit for examples, we'll post some examples on our companion playlist on YouTube or via YouTube. We'll
no excuses.
We'll throw some examples together along with this episode so that you can see what the fuck we're talking about. But yeah, it's fucking heartbreaking that you're taking this talent, all these wrestlers, they're actual professional wrestlers, you're limiting them because you're turning them into sports entertainers.
Look at where this is happening too, where Nakamura versus Styles 4 is happening. And I'm gonna be biased here, but if you ask so many wrestlers especially those who are doing All In, Chicago is one of the greatest wrestling cities in the world. I'm not going to have this argument say it's the greatest. I did say one of the greatest, okay? So for all you New Yorkers and Philadelphia people and everybody else all over the world, your city's great too. There's no doubt about that. But Chicago is one of the greatest wrestling cities in the world. Finally, we get AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. What a fucking dream match that turned into a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, oh my god, I would be under other circumstances, I'd be super fucking excited.
I'd go to the show.
I'd go to the show.
Go to the show.
I'd pay fucking out the ass to go see this happen.
Yeah.
Now I could care less.
Care less. It's all about what you do inside that 20x20 ring.
That's a shame. It's a damn shame.
Speaking of not being a dream match, again, we're watching Hardcore Heaven 97, ECW. Catch that on the WWE Network. Get yourself a subscription, 20x20crew.com/podcast/WWE Network. All one word for you. Jerry the King Lawler versus Tommy Dreamer. They're doing hardcore style wrestling. That's cool. For somebody who didn't like ECW at all, help me out here. Maybe I never really understood the real reason why. Why the hell did he come to ECW then?
He's getting paid to.
He's getting paid to. That's the reason why.
This is man. This is like a whole nother episode. But really quick.
Yeah.
You've got him, you've got Lawler, Jerry the King Lawler, working for the WWF at the time.
Right.
The WWF is secretly financing ECW.
Yeah, and
at least partially.
And in 97, they also invite ECW to Raw.
They invite ECW Raw. That was all a work. They were all in cahoots with one another.
Yes.
This is why Jerry the King Lawler is doing an ECW event. It's a favor from Vince to Paul Heyman at the time.
Gotcha.
To keep them afloat. That's what it was.
Yeah, somebody who completely hates it, shut up, Jerry Lawler.
Why don't I just wrestle and keep my mouth closed? Is that what you said?
Not a bad
idea. Nobody cares. Speaking of hardcore wrestling, how about we fantasy book a hardcore match?
This one's going to be a little tricky for me, but let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's a number of guys that I could go with hardcore wrestling. And I don't know where you're going with this tricky part, so I'm a little nervous here. But I want to go, when it comes to hardcore wrestling, I think, maybe because when I grew up, of course you have your Abdullah the Butchers, you have Terry Funks, you have so many guys from ECW, but Mick Foley, especially under the tutelage of Cactus Jack, is one of those that stand out to me the most. Hardcore wrestling, it doesn't necessarily have to be guys from yesterday, guys today, but those are usually the easiest ones to book.
Sure.
Because for a fact that they didn't wrestle against each other because the timing was off. How about Cactus Jack versus The Draw and Sami Callihan?
I think I just came on my pants. Yes.
I'm backing away, by the way.
I want tickets to this show right now.
It's Cactus Jack versus Sami Callihan?
Yes.
What was the tricky part for you?
For me, hardcore wrestling, a lot of it is, it involves, extreme maneuvers and a lot of props or weapons, what have you. So the tricky part for me is like how much of the match is actual wrestling, how much of it is actual prop usage, because let's face it, you're in that kind of a match, and more often than not, it's tables and chairs and kendo sticks and barbed wire and things like that, and it's cool. I'm not shying away from any of that. All that is fair game to me.
You're not Jerry Lawler?
But, no, I'm not a Jerry Lawler. But, at the same time, the more those things are used, the more effect it has on the match. And that could be a good thing, and it could be a bad thing. It all depends who's in the ring. Mm-hmm. With Sami Callihan and Cactus Jack, you're talking about, not even mentioning Sami Callihan at this point, but just Cactus Jack by himself. You have someone in the ring who is, 1, highly capable, 2, has a high tolerance for pain as a human being, mm-hmm. and 3, has a genius level mind for wrestling. So you have this very, very experienced in-ring worker in Cactus Jack, and he can make all the fucking difference whether he's doing a regular match or a hardcore match. So that, to me, that's where it gets tricky, because anybody can pick up a fucking kendo stick or a baseball bat,
right,
or a chair or what have you and use it in a match, but only people like Cactus Jack really know what else can be done with that.
Well, yeah, not only that, but you also talk about the offense. But you guys also talk about receiving end of all that.
Again, he has a high tolerance of pain.
Yeah.
And he's going to be the guy that takes fucking chair shot upon chair shot upon chair shot, or, you know, multiple kendo stick shots, what have you. Those types of examples. He can do that, or at least he used to be able to do that. For the purpose of this conversation, he can still do it.
So that's so important. And when I think of hardcore matches booking, I'm not just putting, again, bring up Jerry Lawler because we're watching him on the screen here. You know, Jerry Lawler, who at this point in his career especially is not really going to be taking those types of shots, those big time shots. I mean, it's always weird to talk about like, oh yeah, he's going to take a barbed wire bat to the head, but Mick Foley would.
He would.
And,
he would, and he has.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wishes that upon another man, but, we're fantasy booking, so it's okay.
Bang, bang, bang! Bang, bang!
But, it takes a special type of person to be in a hardcore wrestling match, a good hardcore wrestling match.
Yes, that's the key word, good.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of shitty ones, especially matches where, you saw the individuals in the match are a little timid on doing anything, and then what's the point of doing the match? That's not going to be the case with Mick Foley or Cactus Jack and Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan can dish it out, but I've seen him take it many times. Again, we talked about this with the Sami Callihan situation. There's going to be a counterattack on him. If you don't think Sami Callihan doesn't know that, you're sadly mistaken.
Yes.
He's waiting for it, and it's going to happen, and he knows it. These two guys will tear down any arena that they go into. There is, you talk about no fucks given as far as Sami Callihan. There's no fear given between either one of these guys. Absolutely. I mean, there's a decently long list of guys who I love to see in a hardcore wrestling match as far as fantasy booking. These two really stood out, especially with Sami Callihan's doing right now. Sami Callihan, Cactus Jack, book it.
Definitely.
Book it. Right now we're going to take a little break and pay some bills and figure out some more booking. Stick around.
This episode is brought to you by Fight TV. Go ahead and download the app and support the show. Every time you download the app from us, we're going to give you $10 of credit to make your first purchase on the Fight TV app. Get access to all kinds of independent wrestling, Ring of Honor, Evolve, and many, many other feds. Only pay for the shows that you want to see. So go ahead and download the Fight TV app from us over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/fight, FITE.
And we are back. Thanks for sticking around while we pay some bills, and I hope you're enjoying this special preview edition of the following contest. You can catch the following contest exclusively on our YouTube page, which you can go through our website at 20x20crew.com/podcast/YouTube. You asked me if I had one more in me. I got a ton more. But I got one more that I don't know if I ever talked to you about, but it just makes sense. It's a pretty basic one, but it's a fantasy match nonetheless.
Okay.
But it's probably happened in a gym somewhere in Texas.
Okay.
But it's never happened in their prime, and that's what I'm going with this. So in case anybody proves me wrong that it's happened before, that's not what I'm saying. How about a little bit of teacher versus student?
I'm interested.
How about we have Shawn Michaels versus Bryan Danielson? And notice I didn't say Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, fuck Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson, yes.
Shawn Michaels trained, if for those who don't know, trained a young Bryan Danielson. He actually drove from Aberdeen, Washington, that is where he's from, to San Antonio, Texas, the day after his high school graduation.
He wanted to be a wrestler.
That's what he wanted to be.
Yep.
And, we talked about his second coming. It's so great that he's able to live his dream again. But Shawn Michaels, synonymous with WrestleMania. His nickname is Mr. WrestleMania. He's synonymous with big-time matches and big-time moments. Bryan Danielson is synonymous with pure professional wrestling. To me, this is a standout match of a different styles, but yet two of the biggest hearts that love the business. Shawn Michaels, of course, has some gray areas in his past, but
# lost his smile.
I'm sure Bret Hart loved that. Loves to hear that. Yeah, I think that's one that I would say a lot of WWE fans, wrestling fans, sports entertainment fans would say like that one makes sense. That one totally is something that they might come up with. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's a no-brainer. And what makes this more interesting for me, you obviously have that teacher versus student dynamic going on, but what makes this match is when the student gets to teach the teacher. And what I mean by that is, of course, Bryan Danielson trained by Shawn Michaels, but at some point, Bryan Danielson, along the way of his career, learned other styles of wrestling that maybe Shawn Michaels didn't. So, and this is before he hit his peak, so
yeah,
he hits his peak, and if we're talking about both of the athletes in their prime, you're dealing with a completely different monster in Bryan Danielson. So I'm excited, and I think Bryan Danielson wins this.
I was going to ask, does student surpass teacher in this one?
In this one, yes. I can't say that for every teacher versus student situation, but this one, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Daniel Bryan makes... I'm sorry.
Ooh.
I said a bad word there. Bryan Danielson makes Shawn Michaels tap out.
Hell yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. He's way too versed from a technical standpoint at that point in his career. Shawn Michaels, again, phenomenal athlete, definitely can go Mr. fucking WrestleMania. I get it, but he stopped learning at some point.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm actually picking post-2002 Shawn Michaels in this match. I just feel that Shawn Michaels was about delivering higher level matches.
Well, yeah, he was in the right headspace to do it, too. Yeah, hell yeah.
So, you and I are going to talk a lot of Shawn Michaels in the near future here. Shawn Michaels, such a weird case where time off was actually the best thing to happen, because Ric Flair said it best. Time off is a wrestler's worst enemy. And for Shawn Michaels, it was the best thing that ever happened to him as far as his wrestling career goes. It was such a breath of fresh air when he came back and you saw this passion for the business.
Well, you know what? You're absolutely right, but it makes sense. And I think this is a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Because with Shawn Michaels, the whole reason he lost his smile to begin with, if you take any stock in what Bruce Pritchard said on his podcast, he got tired of the business. He didn't want to keep doing what he was doing. He was burnt out. People get burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean he had any less passion for the business. He was just burnt out. But being burnt out does funny things to people, and different funny things to different people. For those of you who work a grueling schedule, mm-hmm. and have been burnt out once or twice in your life, you'll know what I'm talking about. Myself included.
Sure.
Time off, yes. For people like that, for people like myself, I have time off right now, against my wishes, but
sure,
it is a good thing for people like us, and I think that definitely was the case for Shawn Michaels. Sure, he got a lot of flack for just leaving like that, and that will always be he will always be remembered for that, at least part of his career.
Sure.
But you can't deny the guy that came back as being super passionate about the business. You can't deny him that. Not at all. So I would have picked the same version of Shawn Michaels, because to me that is his prime.
Yeah.
So makes sense. Total sense.
I mean, the Showstopper versus the American Dragon, that pretty much that writes itself.
It should. It should.
And, sometimes fantasy booking, ladies and gentlemen, is sometimes you got to dig a little bit. And that's why we love doing this. That's why we really want to hear your fantasy bookings, because there's so many out there. There's
so many.
We can't even come close to doing... If we did a 5-hour episode, we wouldn't come close. It just wouldn't happen. I mean, there's just so many out there, and really, really intrigued by what you guys have to say. And
we are watching ECW Hardcore Heaven 97 on the WWE Network. I don't want to do this pitch again, but 20x20crew.com/podcast/WWE Network. If you don't have a subscription, there, I said it. I think there's a lot to be said when it comes to Shawn Michaels. We probably will be doing an episode dedicated to him and him only. I would love to do that episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on board.
I'm glad that you brought him up because he is one of those like special cases where it's like he did bloom towards the end of his career, and that doesn't happen for a lot of guys, you know. And time off for him was a good thing, not a bad thing, you know. And I get where Ric Flair is coming from, because for most guys it is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, him coming from where he came from, time off meant you weren't getting paid.
Sure.
And things like that.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah, a lot different financial circumstances for those guys. I've got one more in me, and I mention it because he's on the screen right now. Right now we're watching a rematch of sorts between the franchise Shane Douglas, Terry Funk, and Sabu. This is a rematch of the night that crossed the line here at Hardcore Heaven 97. When it comes to fantasy booking, someone that's always at the top of my list here is Sabu. Sabu, for me, did not get the opportunities that I would have liked to see him in over his career. And not that his career is done completely or anything, but I think he missed out. I think he missed the boat on a lot of shit. And I think it was just because of his personality more so than anything. I've always been a fan of his, and as many people have many problems with him, I looked at all of those as kind of like points to grow from, points of opportunity. I'm going to throw it out here, and I definitely want your opinion on this one. Sabu versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Ooh, book it.
Book it?
Yeah, absolutely. Sabu is known for hardcore wrestling. Certainly I get that. I'm forgetting the name of the Japanese place that he came from. FMW, right? Is that right?
I believe FMW, yes.
And obviously ECW. And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is not known for that. But Sabu doesn't get the credit that he deserves for being a great in-ring technician, because he is.
Trained by his uncle, the Sheik.
And
if that's not fucking pedigree right there, wrestling pedigree, I don't know what is.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, when ECW was done with and his bookings came from other companies, WWE included, it was as a hardcore wrestler. And
yeah, he was a special attraction.
That's all it was.
Yeah, especially with the WWE.
And that's not right. It's not all that he was.
Yeah, it's a fraction of what he is.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's what you were alluding to, but
that's exactly what I'm alluding to.
So we're on the same page with that. Like, if you see his in-ring work, and you take away the chairs and you take away all that stuff, you're still going to get a guy who was great at high flying, who's a great in-ring technician, and he's smart inside that ring. He's extremely smart inside that ring, and it gets highly overlooked. A match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, I look at it as the same situation as the finally famous WrestleMania 3 match, where no matter where that match is at on the card, steals the show.
Steals the show, exactly. Believe me, when I first thought of this match, the one thing that did not come to mind was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and tables and chairs and kendo sticks.
Yeah, this doesn't mix.
No, that doesn't mix. I'm not saying he's incapable of using those things, but let's face it, that's just not Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
No.
You want him for his athleticism and his ring prowess. So, yeah, no weapons involved here. No hardcore match. Just straight up wrestling match.
Just wrestling match. That's all you need. I mean, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, when I say that Sabu, man, he's going to go down for me as one of the most underrated performers of his generation.
Absolutely.
Because even in ECW, and I love ECW, but again, same style situation here where it's hardcore or almost nothing with him. I know he had some matches. You know, his matches with Chris Benoit in the early days, they weren't hardcore. Ironically enough, that's where he ended up with a broken neck, though.
Yeah.
That's his fault, actually, unfortunately. That was really his fault. As we see, Shane Douglas can't throw a guardrail over the ring.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those were the matches that really stand out to me as proof that this guy is legit. He's a legit in-ring worker. I would really love to see him in that ring with Ricky Steamboat. Those two would carry each other in that ring.
Yeah.
It would be so great. There'd be a lot of good back and forth. There'd be great communication. And you still get high flying. Though both those guys are not afraid to go off the top rope. Sabu especially. You know, And I don't. That's not hardcore. That's just a style of wrestling in itself. So, man, book that match. What a great way to end.
That's an easy half hour right there.
Yeah, easy.
Easy.
And you're going to feel way satisfied, but wanting more. That right there is how you book a match.
That's how you book a match, folks. We're going to end this episode. Again, thank you for tuning in for the preview edition of our new segment, exclusive to YouTube, mind you, after this, the following contest. And there's plenty more to come. Stay tuned. We hope you enjoy them as we lay them out. We haven't have a set schedule just yet, but be on the lookout. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by going to 20x20crew.com/podcast/YouTube and hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll know when the next episode or next segment of the following contest will be available.
And I also want to add, of course, as always, we want to hear from you. We want your input. And maybe we'll use yours on a future episode.
Please send us suggestions.
Yes.
I am all for this. I'm so all for this.
Absolutely. And not only that, but I issue the challenge. We are looking, it's a very, very small amount here. We're looking for 50 subscribers. We're trying to bring this to a new level, and we want to start with 50. And for doing that, for being a listener, absolutely free to you, we'll do a special giveaway once we reach 50. That's all we're asking for, 50 subscribers, and a special giveaway will be coming. More information on that to come, but please hit that subscribe, tell your friends. Fantasy booking, there are no wrong answers, ladies and gentlemen, so let us hear it.
You're right, but you're wrong.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
He gets me on this every time.
He's right. There are no wrong answers. But please don't send us suggestions like Finn Balor versus Alexa Bliss, and then don't give us any kind of reason why.
Gotcha.
Give us a reason. We want input. I mean, I could easily take words out of my mouth and say them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I should.
No.
You know,
Bastion Booger versus the Gobbledygooker.
Yeah, and then don't provide an explanation. No, please give us something to work with, folks. Matt can easily pick two wrestlers and be like, hey, that's a match. Okay, but why? So when you do that, please, we want to hear from you, but give us some background as to why you chose that match. Okay? That's all I'm asking.
See, I thought you were going to say no certain individual with the initials JJ.
You know what? I can't stand Jeff Jarrett. I am the first one to admit that, but even in fantasy booking, he is more than welcome.
He's not off limits.
I don't know why you'd want to use him, but hell, maybe someone out there will fucking tune me up. So, but yeah. Always catch us on our website, 20x20crew.com. We're available on Twitter at 20x20crew. Same thing on Instagram at 20x20crew. Come visit our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/20x20talk. We also have a Facebook page. Just search 20x20 or 20 by 20 and it'll pop up. Like the page so you can get more information. I think that's about it, yeah?
That's about it. As always, support professional wrestling.
Support the heels, support the baby faces, support your 20x20 crew. We're breaking the ring down. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
So until next time,
we'll see you in the ring.
This episode is brought to you by Ebates. Do you do online shopping at all? Excellent. If you do, you can help support the show and save some money while you purchase stuff online. Have access to over 10,000 different shops online, including major brands such as Nike, GameStop, Uber, Burger King, and just about any other online store that you can think of, including Amazon. Each purchase you make helps support the show and saves you money. Accrue enough cash back and then cash out and receive your big fat paycheck in the mail from Ebates. Take the time, support the heels, support the baby faces, support your 20 by 20 ring crew, and be like the boys. Save some money. 20x20crew.com/podcast/Ebates.